Well, buying land was the easy part. We're still going to be a couple townies for a little while yet. We had to camp on the land, test it out, see what Mother Nature has to say. No power, no running water. We had to give this land a whirl and see if this could actually work. The testing phase. And oh boy, there was some critters. I almost wiped out. What the heck is that thing? I'm already not happy. Oh man. Get that thing out of here. I'm sorry you're losing your home. You're gonna have to come to the other side. You're so pretty. Pretty tail, wow. You smell that? I got this, guys. Let's go. Look at that thing. I got it. Oh, it's a great. We had to see if the dream was going to work. Camp on the land first. There was a lot more bears than expected. And see if this dream survives. When we first bought the property, I was like, well, I don't really want to stay in a tent. A lot of wildlife activity. Looks like we got some critters out there in the homestead. And I was working with Mike Hall
From Rust Valley Restorers.
We didn't work all the time. We sometimes snuck out for some golf. He's a very serious golfer. Let's go. What do we have?
What we got right now is a Neanderthal playing on a golf course. Somehow they let him through. He is covered in car oil right now.
Mike, we want to hear how your game went.
It sucks, the big one.
He had a 1990 Ford F-250 pull up. And when I saw it pull in and it had a canopy, the lights just went off. I was like, ding, 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 no more sleeping in a tent. We got to have this thing. Well, let's throw it to him to give the story. He may have ripped me off. Classic.
Hey guys, Mike here from Rust Brothers. Josh has asked me to give a little recounting of a tragic tale where I ripped him off really bad, made a lot of money off him, but it went to a good cause. We were filming the series, I think we were in about season 3 or 4, and this old couple showed up at my yard with this beautiful green Ford truck. What year was it?
1990.
1990.
Oh, it was blue.
Blue. I thought it was dark green. It was blue?
No, it was blue.
Okay, anyway, there's blue 4x4 mint shape. The old guy had owned it forever. And he said, Mike, we're getting old. We can't afford to fix it anymore. We'd like to give it to you. And I'm saying, I can't take your truck. He said, Mike, we want to give it to you. I said, okay, give it to me. And if something happens, I'll come back and talk to you. Right? So we're filming Josh talking about finally buying some land. They finally found the place up in the Kootenays, beautiful lake. He said a lot of snow and they needed a 4x4. So we looked at the truck. It was a diesel, was it not?
Yep.
Yeah, 7.3 diesel. Like I said, the old guy and his wife had taken care of the truck for years and years. So anyway, I knew the truck was worth money. We talked, we went back and forth. And even though the truck was free to me, I charged Josh $4,000 for the truck because that's what it was worth. It was a beautiful truck, beautiful condition. But what I did, I took the money and I gave about 80% of it, 75% of it. I tracked the people down and gave them the money for the truck. I had incurred some expenses. I kept that, but I think I gave them $3,000 out of the 4. They couldn't believe it when I knocked on their door and gave them a handful of cash. And so even though I feel like I ripped Josh off, I didn't really. The old folks got what their truck was worth. Josh got a good truck and it didn't cost me anything. So as far as I can see, it was a win-win-win.
What do you think about those guys going to live off grid in the bush on just raw land?
I think it's a lot less stress than living in a big city. I'm going, what do you think, Josh? I mean, all I know is I haven't heard you complain. Nothing but good stories about your property. And
What about using the truck as an RV?
did the truck have a canopy when I sold it to you?
Yes.
Yeah, it did. So yeah, basically Josh told me they did a lot of nice camping trips. Anyway, the truck got used. It didn't die. It went to a good home. Josh still has it. And I'm sure if the owners ever watch this video, they'll be happy to know it went to a young couple that are trying to live out in the bush and live their dreams with a Ford truck.
You know, the land is a dream, but dreams are a lot easier when you can go home to a nice hot shower. Well, it poured all night, day one. I had to tarp up Big Mary. She was a leaker. And this is my ladder system. I'm trying to construct this. And I'm wet as a dog. Did I ever tell you how much I love camping? We stayed in that bed, Sally. At first we called her Big Mary, but I don't think the truck liked being called that because he was always breaking down. Then we switched the name to Clive, and I think he liked that because we had a little bit longer run with the guy. You know, sleeping in the back of an 8-foot box, that kind of got old quick, as you can see with Chester and Sarah here, not looking too chipper in the morning. Back home where I grew up in central Alberta, I had some friends that had a fifth wheel they were trying to sell. And they were eyeballing my 1974 Jeep. And so I made the trade. It was a hard trade. Here's a shot of me and my kid ripping in the thing over puddles. Slow motion. Ba-bam! It was a sick Jeep, but I would have never got it passed in BC. Hands are cold. Vehicle inspection. You need a vehicle inspection when you switch provinces, and I knew that Jeep would never go. And I could get the fifth wheel in there, and we were going to enjoy that a lot more. And this is my new palace. Take a look. I'm out of here. It's getting too damn hot. It's like plus 30 and BC's burning. Check out me in this fifth wheel. Sure beats sleeping in the back of that darn truck. Hey, let's put some dinner on this floor. Here you are, here's the two panels. I haven't mounted them yet. I'm learning in the backcountry world, take your time with mounting and building things, because in 20 minutes you might want to change it. So, and I'm going to store them in the trailer while I'm gone, but they only get about 4 hours of light before it goes behind those trees, so not a lot. Come down here, follow the tubes that I got from the old legend Frank of all trades. Could probably use one more there. Dug it into the ground when I got close to the trailer. And I took your suggestion on mounting it in the trailer. This was a good idea too. That charges a phone lickety split. And then we got our monitor. Only getting 11.8 right now. 64.7 volts. 0.61 amps going in. 38%. It's usually about my morning percentage. I don't get it. It says 38% out here, but in the trailer it reads full. And then that'll go up to about 75, 80s. I think we reached 90s once. And then I always get the morning warning. And then yeah. Shizman, I got a problem with my fishing. What do you think?
You got a lot more problem than fishing, buddy. We're in the wild out here. Like, you got me on the lake. Winter's coming. Like, gosh darn. I don't even know what to say.
What do you mean?
Look. You know?
Really?
You're vacationing, and we need to be getting ready for winter.
No, you can't be serious.
Yeah, man. It's like, you're gonna get snowed in.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Let's go. If you're thinking about buying raw land, going off grid, well, follow us. We're not leaving all the details out. We're giving you the honest Abe on things. We are just learning as we go and sharing the things most people leave out.
The RV structure build.
where things really start to go wrong a little bit, or should I say when things start to fall apart?
I think that's better.
Little did we know nature was gonna teach us a pretty big lesson.
Hey, Chester. Should have put in maybe a couple more nails there, dickhead. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Chezzy.